Hello guys, welcome back to my channel Automation Hub Sathak, and today we are learning while loops. Okay, while loops are widely used in Java as well as in Selenium. So this will be a very short video. I'll just tell you the concept and I'll also give you a link wherein you can practice while loops much. So let's begin. I've just created a small package loops. I am going to make a new class while loop here. Okay, so now, first and foremost, we need to understand why do we use while loops. So while loops are used when there is a situation you need to iterate a certain condition within the Java program multiple number of times. Okay, so while loops are used when there is a situation you need to iterate a certain condition within the Java program multiple number of times. Okay, now if let's say for example you know what are the number of iterations, then it is not advisable to use while loop. But in case you do not know the multiple number of iterations, in fact it can be infinite as well, then while loop is recommended. So when we do not know the number of iterations, while loop is recommended. Okay, now there are certain steps you need to follow to write while loop. So there are basically three steps. Of course these are not mandatory, but yeah, the first one is initialization. The second step is you have to give the condition of the while loop, and the third step, incrementation or decrementation. So this is how you need to do. Okay, so let's write this very small program to actually understand this. So I'll just write int I is equal to 1. This is the first step. I've initialized it. So now let me write the condition while I is less than 10, print the value of I and increment the value of I by 1. Okay, so let's run this program. See, you get the output like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is one very small example of a while loop. Okay, now let's say for example, if you have something like while loop has a small disadvantage that in while loop you can get stuck with infinite loop. I mean, the program execution will not stop. So in that situation you need to make sure that you do not use while loop that much. Okay, so let's say for example, as I said, all these steps are not mandatory. You can use something else. Let's say for example I'll teach you infinite while loop. Let's go for infinite while loop. So this is how generally, this is a small example. I'm removing the initialization. Okay, and here I'm declaring a Boolean condition which is true. Okay, I'm removing this incrementation part. Also I'm removing this I because I've not initialized anything. So let's see what happens. So inside the while loop, if you declare a Boolean condition and then you see what happens. So see, this doesn't stop. So you have to forcefully terminate this by pressing this terminate button. Okay, so this is something which while loop does. If it gives a condition which is satisfactory, and then you do not apply the step 3, you do not increment or decrement or give a certain enhancement to that condition, probably the loop will become an infinite situation. Now let's say for example I use this using initialization. Int I equals to 1. So now if I make this condition true, let's say for example while I is not equal to 0. Hold on guys, there's someone at the door, I'll connect. Sorry guys, there was someone at the door. Okay, so let's say for example while I is not equal to 0, this is a true condition, right? I is equal to 1. So if I run this, let me save it, run this, see this becomes an infinite loop. So you have to terminate it. This is how while loop works in an infinite manner. That is why while loop is not really recommended unless and until you know that the iterations could be anything. If it is a finite iteration, then rather we use for loops, which we will use in the next. I'll showcase in the next video. So now let me do something here. If 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 I give a certain condition like I equals to I plus 1. Just let me try this out. So what will happen here? Will this be just printed once or this will have something else? Let's see. Again, this will become an infinite condition. Why? Because this incrementation does not affect this particular print statement. Why? Because anyways the condition comes into a parity. So this is one example of while loop, which is very it's little different. Now let me show you another example. Now let's stick to the same example. Instead of let's see what happens, I will just introduce I. I'll just print I. So in this case, what will happen? You will be amazed to see the output. The value just keeps increasing. It doesn't stop. You can see it is just going on, and it'll keep going on. It will not stop unless and until you forcibly stop it. So this is one wonderful example of the while loop. But in case you mark this as a comment, and then you have the output. I didn't save it. Then it will mark it as an infinite, but just not increment the value of I. So that is the beauty of while loop, and that is also a disadvantage. Okay, now I found a particular link wherein you can really practice while loop and different examples of it in a wonderful way. I have just kept the link here. Okay, I am putting it here. You can practice a lot of questions from this particular javameritcampus.core. They have wonderful examples. You can go ahead and practice, and probably all your doubts will be clear. They have a lot of confusing kind of questions as well. So this is a good place to practice. Okay guys, anyways I'll mention this in the description below. So thank you for watching this video. Hopefully you learned about while loop, and in the next video we learn about for loop. Thank you so much.